Hello and welcome to my F1 24 driver career mode here today for part 61 for the Italian Grand Prix. We're back after the summer break to get this second half of the season up and running. We come into qualifying now then, around the final corner, the Parabolica, at the end of our first lap.
And we've dropped to P18.
As we come up to the line, cross it, and that first lap is going to put us P7. So we went again on the same set of tyres and we've found about 3 tenths and a half as we come into the Parabolica once again, or the HBrown, whatever you prefer. We come up to the line, we found 4 tenths, and that's going to put us P5. George currently P3, and towards the end of the lap we found another 3 tenths of a second. We're going to round the final corner. We've had a bit of a moment there. We come up to the line now, we cross it, and we're going to start the race, P8. So this is the grid then ahead of the Italian Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz is on pole position alongside his former teammate Lando Norris. Then it's Daniel Ricciardo and Charles Leclerc. Albon and Fernando Alonso. It's an all Mercedes row 4, we're just behind George. Then it's Ocon and Hamilton, Piastri and Tsunoda, Max and Perez, Gasly and Joe, Vesti and Hulkenberg, and on the final row of the grid is Lance Stroll and Behrman in the Sauber. So as the cars finish the formation lap and come back to the grid ahead of this Italian Grand Prix, it's going to be a one-stopper, starting on the mediums, going to the hard tyres. There is a small threat of rain towards the end of the Grand Prix, but let's see what happens here at Monza as the 5 red lights come on. We're racing at the tempo of speed and we've got a fairly decent start, but it's a poor second phase as everyone disappears in front of us. We're going to use George as a bit of a tow here as they're 4 wide in front of us nearly. We're going to try and just keep it clean. We've gone over the curb there at turn 1. We've gone round the outside of the Williams. We've got past George, I think there. We're side by side with the other Williams. He's had a shocker of a start. I think that's Daniel Ricciardo, as this is Alonso and Charles Leclerc side by side, and we're going to go for the double move into the second chicane. Leclerc's backed out of it, we've nearly dropped it on the curb. We've got Leclerc, Alonso holds on. If we hadn't have had that moment, maybe we could have got Alonso as well. It was a risky move. We've got one car there. Now can we get Fernando Alonso, our former teammate, heading down towards the Hungary chicane. As we're getting closer and closer to him, we go underneath the old track. We're going to brake later, try and go to the inside, but we're a bit too far back, and Alonso has us covered as now we head up towards the Parabolica on this open lap. Carlos Sainz had a good lead, and it's still Lando P2 as we're side by side with Leclerc, who's tried to get us back here at the final corner. We've kept it pinned around the outside. Leclerc though isn't giving up, but he's going to have to here. But now he's going to have a good run, and he's back past us there as Alonso gets away, and so is the Williams wing double teamed here on lap 2. But we're going to go for the lunge back down the inside, hopefully try and keep the place for both of them, and we do. And we're going to leave Leclerc fighting Alex Albon in the Williams, and Albon has actually got the job done there on the Ferrari. As now we've caught the back of those in front. This is Alonso trying to make a move as we are absolutely flying down the straight. We're very far back here, but that's not going to stop us going for the lunge of the century to the inside, round the outside. Can we get Alonso here on the exit? Yes we can. We catch the most experienced driver sleeping at turn 1 and gain that place into P4. We come now to the end of lap 3. We're all over the back of the Williams of Daniel Ricciardo. This Williams is going to be hard to overtake. Very quick in a straight line Williams, and he's got a DRS off of Lando in front. He's going to go to the inside though. We're going to follow him, and we're going to do a great double move. We're going to weave between Ricciardo and Lando. There's contact with Lando there. We've gained 2 places in one corner there at turn 1. It's a sensational move. We somehow keep it out of the barriers. We were all out of control, but we've got past both of them now. Lando's going to try and have us back here though into the second chicane, but he's too far back. He has to back out of it, and we're up now into P2. And now can we get away and after Carlos Sainz in the Aston Martin? But we're going to have to try and break the DRS first. on Lando Norris. Lando now going to try and have us back here as we head towards the Hungary chicane for the 4th time today. He's going to go to the outside and he gets the job done on us. We're going to try and brake later, but we're going to have to back out of that one. We've really pinched ourselves there to the inside of the Hungary chicane. Lando's through, and now Ricciardo might have us back as well. That great double meet-up at turn 1 might come to nothing, because Ricciardo has got us here. We're going to go back down the inside there at the Parabolica, keep the Williams behind, but we have lost out to Lando Norris in the McLaren. But Ricciardo's not done with trying to get past us again yet. He's going to go to the inside. Look at the straight line speed, but it's going to cancel each other out now. We're going to use the battery that's going to just keep us ahead as we go for a lunge on Lando again at turn 1, but this time we're too far back and the McLaren keeps us behind, and we stay in front of that Williams of Daniel Ricciardo. It's now lap 5, we're catching the back of Lando Norris now. We're getting closer and closer to him. We're heading towards the Hungary chicane. We're going to go to the inside, but Lando's going to follow us. We're on the grass. We've just about kept it in a straight line because Lando's got a puncture. Look at the front right tyre. That McLaren has a puncture. It's nearly caused an incredible crash. As we went to the inside, Lando followed us to get off the racing line. But what is going on there with that tyre? Just 5 laps into the race and Lando's day is done. That may help us in terms of the championship as well, but we very nearly went into the back of that McLaren there, and straight on at the Hungary chicane we somehow got it slowed down on the grass, and that may well be it for Lando's day unless he can
expect to see some rain about
hope
10
for a
to
safety
15
car.
minutes from now.
As now the rain at 10 to 15 minutes away, we pulled away from those behind. Albon made his way through and we just couldn't catch Carlos Sainz. That gap staying around 3 seconds or thereabouts. At the end of lap 12 though, we're going to pit. We're going to try and do what we did in Spa last time out, where we pitted and brought ourselves back into play, and that gave us the win really that day. So will it work today as we come into the pits? The soft mediums go on, but it's slow. It's so slow on the front right. They can't get it on. It's a 4.5 second stop, and our plan may have gone out the window there, unless this is the most incredible outlap the world has ever seen. That gamble isn't going to pay off. So at the end of lap 13 onto lap 14, into the pits is Sainz. Is he going to have a good stop as well? It looks a bit slow for him on the front right as well. Aston Martin having issues just like us. So is that going to help us out a bit in trying to get us back into this fight with Carlos Sainz? Because that Aston Martin is just too quick today. As we come out the final corner, and that Aston Martin is miles clear. Sainz is going into turn 1 now, and we're about halfway down the pit straight. There is Behrman as we go into turn 1 now. The gap about 6.5 seconds. And on lap 17, the end of lap 17, the rain has arrived with just 10 laps to go. That gap, 4 seconds to Carlos Sainz. We just couldn't get it down, as this is Gasly in the Alpine. More reliability for Alpine. That engine has gone bang. He was in the points as well, just about fighting to get into the points, but he's not fighting anymore because he's watching this race on the sidelines. We skip on to lap 23 now. The rain is coming down, but it's not enough to go onto the Inter or even think about the Inter. There's still a lot of grip out there. The rain is going to stay though for the time being to the end of the race, as Mark says there. But we go through then the Hungary chicane. It is slippery, but it's nowhere near the crossover for the Inter. But as we skip on to the final lap of this Grand Prix, Carlos Sainz has dominated it, and he comes up to the line to win the Italian Grand Prix. He pulled 8 seconds on us as we nearly drop it at the final corner. We are going to come home for a P2 and a fairly decent result.
Carlos Sainz takes the checkered flag. And as we get closer to the end of this year's championship, every race that you put together well now really sets you up for crossing the finish line in the championship in the best possible position. But it's moments like this right now that really matter.
It's time to present the top drivers with their trophies for today's Grand Prix. There are a lot of people in the paddock very happy with this result. It's Aston Martin on the top step.
So that's been then your Italian Grand Prix, won by Carlos Sainz. Dominated it in the end. We tried in the pit stop to bring ourselves back into play, but that poor stop meant we couldn't do it. And ultimately, when the rain came down, we didn't have the pace to stick with Sainz, and he pulled on us to 9.5 seconds. We do get the fastest lap though, but then Fernando Alonso in the other Aston Martin came home for P3, so it's another good day for Aston Martin. And George finished P4, and Albon rounds out the top 5. Williams having a decent day. Lando didn't get his safety car, which would have very helped him get back into play, but he did recover to P13, so I think that's not a bad day for him. Ollie Behrman was the final finisher of the day. Gasly was your one retirement of the day. And then in terms of the Drivers' World Championship, and Fernando Alonso's lead has gone. It was 3 points. He's now been overtaken, and Carlos Sainz leads the World Championship by 13 points over his teammate, with 74 points off Carlos Sainz now. We've also jumped Lando as well to P3. We now have a 2-point lead on him. There's still a lot of drivers still yet to score, and Vesti is still bottom. So in terms of the constructors then, and it's another good day by Aston Martin. That 1-3 means they extend the lead over us in P2. We've jumped McLaren as well, but the gap now 186 points. With how strong they've been, I think that's going to be extremely hard for us to get down. So our battle's ready for P2 and fighting McLaren, who we have a pretty good lead over now, 22-point lead. And then there's still 3 teams still yet to score, that being RB, Haas and Sauber. So that's been your Italian Grand Prix. Probably not the most thrilling Italian Grand Prix. Next though, we go to Baku and hopefully get another podium, as now it's 2 on the bounce. I'll see you in Baku. Goodbye.